Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to be ranking some create items and armor pieces, and I will try my best to rank them fairly. This is all base create, of course. I'm not doing any add-ons or anything like that as far as I'm aware. If I am, just let me know. I'll try to correct that in the comments or something. I don't know. I don't have a real plan for this too much. I have had about 6 other takes so far, but here we are. Take number 7, right? Hopefully this is the one that I use, and it's pretty funny that I had 7 takes. Enough rambling. We're going to start with our armor pieces, and the first armor piece we'll be touching on is the Engineer's Goggle. This is probably one of the first armor pieces that you'll get your hands on in the mod, other than, vanilla armor pieces, obviously. If you're playing vanilla and create, these are probably like a B tier just because they do take up a slot. But if you're playing with a mod that allows you to wear different armor pieces, say like a helmet and then a bauble slot, I think this counts. So A tier, as well as the fact that it allows you to see how much stress units a certain item or block or whatever is taking up from your system. So you can see the use there. It's A tier. Now for the copper diving helmet, it's on a different level because it does require another armor piece before it's actually useful. It only gives you 2 armor, so I think that might be on par with leather armor at this point. I might be wrong. Not that great. It does provide water breathing with the back tank, but since it's being ranked by itself, B tier. Of course, it suffers from the same issue as the goggles. It does take up a pretty valuable slot. But maybe you don't care about that. Maybe you're just like a die-hard no armor guy anyways, so why are you watching this? Like, what? Now for the copper back tank, here's something that I will say. It is better than the helmet, and that's because any create tool, I would say, that takes durability will generally take air pressure from the back tank before it starts using up its own durability. Just for that, A tier. It's very useful, it's very great, and I love it. Now the copper diving boots, they are probably suffering from the same issue as the helmet. They don't provide a lot of armor. In fact, these actually provide 1 less armor piece, but that's pretty common for boots, right? I will say though that these boots are better by themselves than the copper diving helmet is by itself. So I will put that in upper B tier just because of that. They allow you to move around in water a lot more efficiently, so you can move faster in the water. I think that's about it that I can say about those. They're pretty useful, but they're not the most useful thing. I guess you can technically enchant armor and have something like that, but this is like basically aqua affinity as well if you have the back tank. So I don't know what to say about that. We're going to talk about an upgrade to the whole diving gear, right? And that would be the netherite versions of themselves. So the netherite helmet, or I guess the netherite diving helmet, it allows you to be fireproof and lava proof so long as you have full netherite gear on. And I would say just for that, it is an A tier item. It knocks this one way out of the water, pun intended. Yeah, it's pretty good. It does take the back tank to actually be able to breathe under lava, but still pretty useful being lava proof, not gonna lie. Now that brings us on to this netherite back tank. It is very much like this one, except I think it might hold more air pressure. Don't quote me on that. I might be wrong, but I think it does move the line down a bit because it is definitely better than these 2 items. Actually, I think the helmet is better than that back tank, so I'm gonna take a controversial take and say that all of these other armor pieces are better than the Engineer's Goggles. And that's because I think they all provide some amount of armor. And also there's other ways of viewing your contraptions, and I don't think you're going to be wearing your goggles when you're wearing these either, so I don't know. The boots, the netherite diving boots, they're actually not better than, well, okay, they do allow you to not move on your mechanical belt, but I don't think they're better than the helmet, in my opinion. I think because you can just wear regular netherite boots and swim in lava, right? Yeah, I think for what they are, they're actually worse than the back tank, but they're not worse than that, right? They're definitely better than that. And they're also better than this, of course, because they provide armor. That's where the rankings stand for the armor so far. let's see where the items go, right? It's going to be interesting to see how I shift things down the line with the items. I don't know. All right, for the items, we're going to start with the wrench. Now, of course, the wrench is S tier because it's fairly cheap to get your hands on, and it's practically essential when you play Create. I cannot name the number of times that like I misplaced a mechanical saw or something, and I just had to rotate it, right? Whereas like if you didn't have the wrench, it's almost like twice as hard. You know, you got to mine it and then place it right, and say you placed it wrong, you're gonna have to mine it again. And you can even move mine carts or something like a contraption. I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's so good. It is just amazing. And that's why it's S tier. The potato cannon is a fun weapon that create adds. I think it might be the only weapon that create adds to the game. And yeah, this is an example of one of the items that take durability, but doesn't take durability when you have a back tank on. Instead, it uses the air pressure from the back tank to fire any fruits or vegetables that are used. I think every fruit and vegetable in the game, in vanilla at least, is allowed to be used by the potato cannon. And that includes melons and pumpkins. I don't know about carved pumpkins or jack-o'-lanterns, but it definitely uses melons and pumpkins. I tested that out. And just because it's funny to say that you killed the Ender Dragon with a potato, I'm putting it in A tier. It's not top of A tier. I think it actually is better than the goggles. And let me explain. This thing has potential to do more damage than, you know, a potato, right? Oh, and also I forgot to mention, okay, just for this fact, it doesn't have a set cooldown time. So for example, a notch apple, right? That's what this is, an enchanted golden apple. It has a very slow cooldown time, right? Watch that go down. But say you got a beetroot. That's like almost instant. Oh yeah, it shoots pumpkin pie. I forgot about that. Well, I guess you get the idea. It has a different cool time depending on what you shoot from it. And it also has different damages based on what item is shot out of them. So I think a golden carrot is definitely better than a regular carrot. That's just one example. And I think poisonous potatoes might apply the poison effect to an enemy. I might be wrong. Don't know, actually. This is an item that I'm not very familiar with, okay? The Wand of Symmetry is actually fairly useful. It has the ability to reflect what you place onto the opposite side. It's not going to do it this way because it's only reflecting this way. So if I place it there, it's going to place it there. It also breaks items in a mirrored way, right? If you hold shift and right click on it, you can actually change which axis it's rotated on. So if it's reflecting on the x-axis, it's going to go that way. Rectangular is pretty cool too because it'll place it directly across from you no matter which side you're on and break directly across. And then there's another setting for rectangular, which is diagonal. This one kind of confuses me. I guess it's so that you can make a diagonal rectangle or something. It's weird. I don't like it that much. That's one setting I probably will never use. But there's another one, and this is the only way that you can actually do it is horizontal, but it's called octagonal. And this places it across, but also to the sides. It's very useful for building a quick circle or square, or if you're making a weird shape, like a plus. And if you want to get rid of it, just make sure you're not highlighting any blocks around you. So I could technically right click it right here and it'll go away, right? Or if I look up at the sky, it'll be gone. And it also works if you look straight at it and right click, so long as no blocks are being highlighted. Where am I gonna put this? It is highly useful. I will say it's very fast for building, so I guess I'll put you in A tier, but definitely not above anything else in A tier. I think everything else in A tier is definitely above the Wand of Symmetry. The Extendo Grip extends your reach by, I think it's like 3.5 blocks or something like that. Maybe just 3 blocks, I don't know. But if you hold it in your offhand, it'll allow you to use any tools at that range as well, so I can still reach that distance. Just because I'm putting in B tier. Yeah, that's basically everything about it, so I'm just gonna put it in B tier. It's not very great, but it is useful. It has its uses, and I did vote for the crab, right? So that's where it's going. I will say it is definitely above dog armor. I'm still gonna stand by that. Although, on another note, dog armor is better now, so they did improve what they did wrong with it. But still, I like this better. Minecart coupling is something I don't really use very often, and I'm putting you in C tier. It allows you to send multiple minecarts, like you can link them up, right? And send them down like a rail, and they won't bump into each other or anything and cause issues. As far as I'm aware, it might. I don't use this, dude. This is not something I'm a huge fan of. Like, I'm not using this like crazy, but if I was a kid and I was playing Minecraft, I probably would enjoy this just because I liked minecarts as a child. So that's all I'm going to say about that, right? Next up is the super glue. This is one of my favorite items in the game, and unfortunately, I can't use this item frame because it'll try to be glued. So I'm going to actually replace that with a regular item frame and throw you in there. Because S tier, dude, this is so good. It's useful for literally almost anything I can think of. Like every single contraption that I like to build uses the glue. I don't know, there's certain things that you don't need it for, but it's so good. I don't see any playthrough where I don't craft super glue. I could, like any playthrough, I could literally go without crafting pretty much any of these items, except for these two. These are two items that you definitely need. That brings us on to another thing, create world builder, or world shaper item, I guess. It's cool. It's only useful in create, though. I don't think it functions in survival mode, but I'll still put in S tier, even though you can't have access to it in survival mode. Maybe you have a mod that makes it so that you can use it. I would be surprised, because that sounds, I don't know, difficult to code. Like, it's kind of a hard system to think about. But on another note, I have something that is not very useful on its own, but you can actually use this for another contraption that you can use in Create, which is called the schematic cannon. That's right. So you put your schematic into the cannon and you can print off onto your clipboard a list of items that you're going to need in order to use the cannon to build something, right? That's about where the use for this clipboard ends. Other than that, I don't know, maybe if you did any of these items on the list and you checked it off, say you commented down below, but you don't want to see all of your checked off boxes, right? You want to get rid of those so that you know what you need next. All you have to do now is like and subscribe, right? Yeah, C tier for this one as well. It's not useful, right? But it's only in C tier because of the schematic cannon. If it weren't for the schematic cannon, I probably would put this maybe in E tier. And I think that's all of the items on the list. I didn't really move anything around too much. Actually, okay, I'm gonna move this guy because this is actually more useful than the mirror. So that's where it stands. It's not very high A tier just for the fact that it is only create. Like, you can only have access to it in create mode, or in creative mode. I don't know why I'm saying create mode. That's goofy. Only 2 S tiers, of course. Everything else you can genuinely live without. I don't know, if you think I was unfair to any of these items or armor pieces and you want me to know that I ranked something wrong, like say this is something that you think deserves to be in B at least, just yell at me. Yeah, let me know what I got wrong on this list. Maybe I got something completely wrong and you think it needs to be like way higher in the list or way lower in the list. I don't know, just let me know. I'm open to listening to you guys. I like to hear what you have to say. Maybe if you wanted add-ons included in this, let me know. But as you can tell, that's about everything I have for you guys. As always, my name has been Cyrus Bliss. I just want to take a moment to thank everyone that's gotten me to this point. I really do enjoy making videos. I never expected to really grow too much on YouTube. I was mostly just doing this for the fun of it. I don't know. I've just been enjoying this a lot. If you're watching to this point and you're still watching, thank you. Like you specifically, you are just someone special. I just want you to know that. You guys are so great. That's everything. I'm just going to leave you off with that. Bye.